Hello and welcome to episode 1 of The Walking Dead Character Profiles. This is going to be the new series where we take your favourite deceased characters and digest them. So today we are going to do Rhee, the lovable supply runner, who, spoilers, dies brutally by the hands of Negan at the start of season 7. Today I'm going to go deep into this character from start to finish, but first we've got to go through some important details. First of all, his full name is Rhee. He is married to Maggie Rhee. He is of course male. He's played by Steven Yeun. He's Korean American, and before the apocalypse, he was of course
delivered pizzas. Why?
So before the apocalypse, Glenn originated from Michigan, where he was born to Korean immigrants alongside his sisters. He soon moved to Atlanta and gained insightful knowledge regarding the city streets and layout when he became a pizza delivery boy. We of course first see him in season 1, episode 1, right at the end, where he delivers his infamous line.
Hey you! Dumbass!
He soon helps Rick escape being trapped in a tank. The two go back to the store safely, but soon Rick and Glenn have a smart idea to spread themselves in guts to gain a truck. Glenn, of course, later breaks into a Dodge Challenger to use the alarm to herd the dead away, while Rick saves the others in the truck. After returning to the camp, Daryl wants to return to save his brother, and Glenn agrees to assist considering his knowledge of the city, which leads him being kidnapped by the Vatos. Eventually everything is smooth and the group head back to the truck, but it's gone, so they have to go by foot. As they arrive at the camp, it's being overrun by walkers. Glenn has to defend the camp with the others. Eventually, as the group splits off, they head to the CDC where they meet Jenna. Here Glenn gets drunk, but soon has to flee as the building explodes. In season 2, we see Glenn having to hide from the zombie herd with the others. Later, he's in the woods helping to look for Sophia. Soon he returns to the RV when Laurie is swooped away by his future wife. Glenn soon arrives at the farm where he meets Maggie. The two bond and quickly have sex in a pharmacy, the best place to do it. Horny and want more, Maggie passes a note to Glenn asking for more, and Glenn proposes the barn where he finds walkers. Also, he finds out Laurie's pregnant. Soon Glenn spills the secrets, causing a hiccup in the relationship, and Shane opens the barn, killing the walkers, which causes Herschel to rage quit. Glenn assists Rick in getting the old farmer back, which ends up with a shootout with Dave and Tony's group, where Glenn has a close call after getting back with Randall. Glenn sides against Dale about killing him, and eventually is shocked and upset when Dale bites the dust. Glenn later goes on to find an undead Randall. In the finale, we see Glenn defending the farm with Maggie and having to flee soon after, but luckily they meet up with the others. In season 3, we see Glenn still with Maggie, and we open with him helping to clear the prison so the group can stay there. After Herschel gets bitten, we see Glenn helping give moral support to Maggie. Later, when the prison is attacked by Andrew, Glenn helps defend the prison and later digs the graves of their dead friends. Later, Maggie and Glenn go on a scavenger trip where they are kidnapped by Merle, and he is tortured and beaten by Merle, and he has to defeat a zombie whilst tied to a chair, until Maggie breaks when the governor threatens his life. The governor is going to kill the duo when they are saved by Rick and return safe home. There's some stuff with Glenn and Maggie where he thinks she was raped, and later he gets a ring and proposes to her. In the finale, he also helps fend off the prison. Before season 4, Glenn gets married to Maggie. The rest of the first half, he's mostly sick. He of course gets the flu from the prison, and he has a close call with death due to the sickness. When the governor attacks, he's loaded onto the bus by Maggie, but off-screen Glenn goes back and is knocked unconscious somehow, probably by the tank. Using the help of Tara, he escapes where he meets Abraham. The two get in a scuffle and fight, with Glenn eventually leaving with Abe and co. to look for Maggie. In jail, he finds a message left by Maggie and heads on following to the train tracks. He comes across a tunnel with Tara, which the two go through, leaving Abraham and co. Here Tara does what she does best and hurts her leg getting stuck when they are saved suddenly by Abraham and co. And Glenn and Maggie are reunited to head to Terminus, where they are trapped in a train cart. In season 5, Glenn has a close call being eaten by the cannibals, where he manages to escape with Rick and co., eventually finding a church. Nothing too notable happens with Glenn early season 5, he mostly is just sort of there. He of course goes off with Abraham and they learn about Eugene's lie, and they soon return. Glenn is present helping to try to save Tyrese, but they are unsuccessful. Glenn later eats some dog, finds Aaron, And then Glenn checks the truck, eventually going off to look for Aaron's partner. Eventually all reunited, they go off to Alexandria. Glenn is soon recruited as a supply runner, but he notices Aiden and Nicholas are two slimy bastards. Soon, stupid Aiden gets himself killed, and then Nick gets Noah killed, Glenn having to watch in horror. Glenn punches him and returns, sparing his life. Later, the stupid prick shoots Glenn in an effort to kill him, but Glenn again forgives Nicholas, returning to Alexandria both. In Season 6, Glenn steps up to help Rick in diverting the herd away. It goes a bit wrong with Glenn and Nicholas on a dumpster, and we have a horrible fake-out death. After, Glenn emerges like Jesus. He meets up with Enid. The two return to find Alexandria overrun. Glenn nearly risks his life saving Maggie to be saved by Abraham. Later on, Glenn goes with Maggie to the hilltop to get an ultrasound, until, what do you know, Glenn and co are at a satellite to kill some saviors. Here he struggles with the weight of it. He also finds some nice pictures foreshadowing his death. Of course, Glenn is forced to kill two people with a knife while they sleep because Heath was too pussy. Anyway, Maggie gets taken and Glenn looks worried, but she's all good in the end. Later, when Daryl goes off, he goes to get him back, causing him to be kidnapped by Dwight. We see Glenn in a truck. He's put in Negan's line with the others and comes to Maggie's defense when Negan alludes to killing her, pissing Negan off. And of course, Season 7, we see Daryl flip out punching Negan, causing Negan to randomly kill Glenn in the most brutal fashion, his eye popping out, him pleading for Maggie. He sadly utters his last words to his wife. Maggie, I'll find you. Before Negan finishes him off, completely destroying his skull. He is later buried in the hilltop. Glenn was one of the biggest characters in The Walking Dead, and one who's been pretty much around since the start, and his death really meant a lot to the fans. He of course left his legacy in the form of a child in his wife, which hopefully should go all well, and we'll have a little Herschel Jr. But overall, Glenn was a pretty solid character, and his death was horrible, and he will be missed by all. Anyway guys, that's episode 1 of my character profiles. This was a little longer just because of how huge Glenn is as a character, but I tried to shorten it down so it kind of aligns a little bit with the others, of course, though I think it's only fair for us to give it a little bit more time to Glenn. Of course, next week, or possibly in a few days actually, we're going to have one about Abraham, which will be presented by Nick, not by me. So yeah, but any suggestions to characters you want to see, of course, this is only for deceased characters, so if the character is still alive or the character has an unknown status, unfortunately we're not going to do a video on that character yet because we want to do the entire kind of character from start to finish. So yeah, any suggestions, please do leave them in the description. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.